Hey, welcome to Rust Revival Garage. My name is Tim. I've completely rewired my 1968 Pontiac Le Mans. And the one issue that I still have, I think this is my last remaining electrical problem, is my fuel gauge. It's the only thing that doesn't work. I'm not convinced that it is a wiring issue, however. I think it might either be the sender or it might be the gauge itself. I need to find that out. I've done everything on the car and everything works. I went on the power tour without a fuel gauge, and that was kind of nerve-wracking, not knowing where I am. So I need to definitely get my fuel gauge working. I need to know where I'm at. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's what I'm going to install. It is basically for GM cars from like 65 to like 93 or something like that, which basically means I think that it's got the correct ohm readings and all that for fuel gauges, but I'm going to give that a try. Now, I really do not want to put another gauge under this dash. I don't. But if I don't believe anybody sells them. If they do, they're probably stupid expensive. There are some used ones on eBay, and $200, $300, $400. You know, I mean, that's how it goes. For somebody took it out of the back of one of the dashes, and they're selling the gauge. Don't know if it works. You know, again, it's a crapshoot. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I've got a fuel gauge. That's pretty much my goal, so I can tell where I'm at and not have to worry. Because if not, every time I drive the car, I will stop and put gas in it. Because I'm one of those people like, I can't let my phone battery get too far down or I start to panic. Now, in testing, in the last video, I wanted to test the wires by grounding them out. So I kind of tore them up, but I do need to get them sorted back out again, just to make sure that these are all hooked up, and check the gauge to see if that was the problem or it's the sending. Okay, so I've got my wires reconnected, and we should be good, at least sending power back to the sending unit. Let's get the battery disconnected. Now here's the gauge. I'm a little concerned, mostly because the directions say sending unit 12 volt battery source ground to the gas tank, and then it's got lights that you hook up, the positive, you know, to the instrument lights and the ground to that. But I didn't know you had to ground to the gas tank. I thought the gas tank itself being grounded was enough. Okay, so yeah, here it says ground to fuel tank. And then over here it says connect wire from negative terminal post on the back to ground on the fuel tank. I'm hoping that's not the case, because I do not want to run a wire all the way to the back of the car. The other thing is, I messed up when I ordered this. I thought it came with a little black bracket that you could screw into the bottom of the dash, but it doesn't. So I guess I'm gonna have to order the little bracket to put it in. I thought they all came with that, but I guess not. Okay, so this wire I'm gonna hook up to one of my positive key-on terminals up in here, and I'll run that to the back of the gauge. Okay, for my 12 volt positive, what I'm going to use is this tap. This basically allows me to use one of the fuses that is key on only, 12 volt power source. So I'm going to use the wiper fuse, that's key on only, and I'll put the fuse for the wipers in here, and then another 5 amp fuse in here, and then I'll be able to splice this in, and that will give me 12 volt key on power only. Okay, so the first one in this tap is going to be the original one, which is, you know, the source. So there I've got the original one is first, the little 5 amp fuse is second, and I'm just going to plug this back in right where the wipers went. And there are my taps. The one tap on the top is for the tach, then the bottom one now is for my fuel gauge. This is going to be my ground wire. Hoping again that I can ground this to the back of this, and then ground the other end to the dash, which is normally how I do gauges. We'll see if that works. So I've got my 12 volt positive, key on positive on, got my ground on. I just need to ground that to the dash. And then the hard part is going to be to get my fuel sending unit wire, which runs all the way down through from the gas tank up to what would have been this gauge. I'm going to have to take it off and put it right there. Oh, this is absolutely the worst thing ever for a big guy to do. Oh my God. So I've got my ground connected to the dash. It doesn't look like it, but there is a little sanded off little area underneath there. Oh, and then the absolute worst part is trying to get back out again. Oh my God. All right, I will say about the best tape in the world, electrical tape, for this wiring project, because it is so hard to get off again. But I managed to expose some of the wire. This is the fuel sending unit. This is the one that's running directly to the fuel tank. Okay, so it doesn't look great right now with the wires hanging everywhere, but I kind of wanted to just see if it works. I will probably put it like right here, and I can make the wiring go away, but this is what it looks like, or will look like. So let's go ahead and plug in the battery and see if this works. All right, let's give it a try. Got the battery plugged back in, all my wires connected, and got to turn the key on. All right, key on, power's working. Let's take a look at the gauge. Look at that. I've got a quarter of a tank. It works. It wasn't the sending unit, it was the gauge. Awesome. I have a gas gauge. Now I just need to get the little bracket that I can hang it right there, and I'm good to go. I may hook up the light, daisy chain it onto these, but that is cool. All right, so all I need to do now is wait for that bracket to arrive, clean up the wiring a little bit, and I've got a fuel gauge. So the fuel gauge is done. That's my last wiring problem, and hopefully I don't have to crawl under my dashboard ever again. I'm sure I will, but that is very cool. Short video. I was expecting it to also be the fuel sending unit, and I was going to have to drop the tank, and I really did not want to do that. But I do need a working fuel gauge. So that problem is fixed, and I'm happy. If you got anything out of the video, give me a like down below. Comment, let me know if you have any questions, if I got anything wrong. And subscribe if you can, lots more coming up. In exactly a week, I'm going to be, or less than a week, I'm going to be going to the Good Guys show here in Columbus. It's one of the biggest car shows in the country. Certainly one of the most big, one of the biggest Good Guys shows. And then the week after that, I'm going to Pontiac Nationals up in Norwalk, Ohio. So if you can subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will catch you next time.